is Guidelines to Build a Strong Retail Brand. I hope everybody is listening. You can always carry your cups or your plates to your tables, sit down while you're listening and enjoying the next session. You can also enjoy your cup of tea. So requesting you to kindly take your seats. So as I mentioned, Guidelines to Build a Strong Retail Brand. Now our speaker, of course, his advertising roller coaster ride began 18 years ago when he switched lanes from rocket science to common sense, he calls it. From his gold medal winning Bangalore University project on the engine of Prithvi missile to playing for the Bangalore University cricket team to also flirting a little bit with the event marketing, silent theatre and choreography to finally believing that he could write for a living and winning India's first ever Gold Lions in film and film craft at the Cannes Lions International Festival. Well, I have more to talk about him. He has won over 1 million consumers and harvested over 300 international creative awards, including an unparalleled record of 16 Cannes Lions, 10 one-show pencils, 07D and AD pencils, Film Grand Prix, and Lotus Roots Grand Prix. Well, so many of those I could go on. But let me also tell you that he has directed several films, including the famous Nike cricket spot. Now, Make Every Yard Count. I'm sure you all would have seen that, which was a most awarded campaign at Cannes 2014, winning a record 7 Cannes Lion across cyber, branded content, film craft, and film lions. Ladies and gentlemen, gives me immense pleasure to invite on stage Mr. Senthil Kumar, Chief Creative Officer, JWT India. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I am the commercial break. You've been having very serious discussions on how to, new retail strategies for the new competitive environment and all that. But like in every show, you need to have a commercial break, and this is the commercial break. So you can enjoy your coffee and just have some fun. We'll try and make it interactive as we go on. Mr. Swami gave me the title which says, Guidelines to Build a Strong Retail Brand. I'm no guide. I just have a bunch of ideas to share with you guys. And let's see how a few brands, which started off as small retail brands, but today are huge, giant multinational companies, how they did it and how they do it still, right? The first one, when I started working on this presentation sometime past midnight yesterday, I said, let's try and do something interesting and try and at least make a connection which hasn't been made. So I decided to dig into the 12 laws of karma, which all of us have been brought up on, and it's in the Puranas and all that. I don't know if most of you must be knowing it, but I've tried to equate that to brands and what they've done. Hope you guys like it and have some fun. So the first one is a great law: as you sow, so shall you reap. This is also known as the law of cause and effect. If we want is happiness, peace, love, and friendship, then we better be the same to our consumers. Whatever we put out in the universe is what's going to come back to us. Brand custodians, shop owners, retail magicians, to all of us, one way or the other. The brand that I've been more than a decade of.
It started a long time ago, even before we were Nike, when we made shoes for runners and sold them out of the trunk of a Plymouth Valiant at track meets. It was never about selling shoes. It was about selling shoes that made runners faster, stronger, better. We were obsessed with running because we were runners, and we wanted better shoes. And then, with the help of some hot rubber and waffle iron, it became, why not make them? And then it became, why not add air, run barefoot, experiment with springs and lunar foam, and place a chip in our shoes. We imagine and then make the most innovative, unthinkable, crazy running gear, all because we believe in the run. The run taught us and continues to teach us, and it doesn't just teach us about running. It turns I think I can into I know I can, into I just did it and will do it again. Run moves us all forward. And we believe in Olympic dreams, state championships, world records, and leading from the front with guts, as much as we believe in the first run, the lunch run, the run to clear your head, and the run to feel strong, the run with a friend, and the run after a breakup or a hangover. We believe running is great for all of us, not some of us, and that we all can become whatever we choose if we just run toward it. And we're going to be there for every runner, from first to the corner to first to a world record, making them faster, stronger, and why not even better people. Because when it comes to getting better, nothing is more powerful than the power of the run.
One of the all-time greatest, this brand started off like you must have heard in the story of the company. They started off selling shoes from the back of a car on a street somewhere in Colorado, right? And then they grew, and what did they do? I mean, they didn't sell a brand of shoes. For some reason, it's stuck. Yeah. They didn't sell a brand of shoes, they didn't sell just Nike, they sold a human emotion. And even today, this exists. They sell to the human aspiration to run forward, to run faster, to run better than anyone else. Now, somewhere, this is what took them on this long journey from of cars, from the back door of the car to many stores around the world, right? And it's sort of, so shall you reap. So they wanted to put that out into the world, the human aspiration, and today they own it. Let's look at a second law. This is called the law of creation. Life doesn't just happen, it requires our participation. So as retail brand custodians, or as shop owners, or company owners, or just managers, brand managers, we are one with the universe, both inside and out. And whatever surrounds us gives us clues to our inner state. So now we'll see an example of how a brand has tackled this. Another big retail brand which started off making jeans somewhere in the US of A, and today is the world's largest selling denim brand.
Curve ID. We believe it's about shape, not size.
Okay, and they do this continuously, innovating with different propositions, talking to different people. Again, Levi's is selling more than the brand. They're feeding a human need. Levi's did not sell jeans to women. It sold them shape. It sold them curve IDs. It told them, we know who you are. Somewhere it's about using ideas or using communication platforms to actually connect with the consumer beyond just so. Somewhere, when you look at the law of creation, it doesn't just happen. It requires our participation. A demonstration by Levi's. The law of humility is the third law that we'll take on here. You can't change something if you refuse to accept it. If what you see is an enemy or someone with a character trait that we find to be negative, then we ourselves are not focused on a higher level of existence. How does it hold good in the world of advertising and brand building?
For India, the world is waiting. British Airways.
So I'm not just focusing on retail brands to tell you this, to draw this equation, but any brand, because somewhere there is also a retail store which actually sells tickets, and there are travel agents who are in the retail business of selling tickets. British Airways coming in and saying, they could have done lots of things, like in the early days when they did the scale epic films. But here is a brand which gave away the stiff upper lip and the nose in the air attitude and decided to talk to Indians the way we know best. I think the law of humility is very important in retail or any form of communication. The law of growth, wherever you go, there you are. For us to grow in spirit, it is we who must change and not the people, places or things around us. So let's look at a brand, a very strong retail brand. How did they sort of grow? When everything was at par, and they were the first big furniture brand to try this.
At IKEA, we love furniture. After all, it's what we do. And even if we like people to buy our furniture, we don't like to see old furniture go to waste. This old sofa was on its way to the junkyard, even though it's still good. And that's just sad. It has a few years left in it, and that's why it deserves a new home. We asked customers about to buy new IKEA furniture, can we help you sell your old furniture? Lots of people said yes. We collected their old stuff and started to make some serious advertising. Every film and photo had the same production budget as a new product launch. We helped all kinds of old furniture recapture their lost glory and made them the stars of a nationwide ad campaign. For 8 weeks, we shared all of IKEA's advertising space with our customers. All IKEA's ads had the actual private seller's phone number in them, so buyers could contact them directly as they saw an ad on TV, internet, or outdoors. Also, we turned IKEA's page into Facebook's first digital flea market, where people could post and sell their own stuff every Sunday between 11 and 5 p.m. The seller's phone started ringing, and soon old sofas, cabinets and beds moved into new homes, instead of ending their life on a junkyard. During the campaign, sales of new IKEA furniture increased, and at the same time, we got our sustainable message through.
So cars have been doing it for years, but this is the first sort of retail brand, a furniture brand, which actually thought of the idea of actually, to growing, how do you grow the brand beyond what you have in your inventory? You go back and take back your second-hand stuff and then get customers to resell, and you're inviting the customers and your consumers to connect with the brand in a very different way. You're coming back, and so therefore you're increasing growth, you're increasing sale in a very direct way. It's a reflection of the law of growth. Fifth one, the law of responsibility. We mirror what surrounds us, and what surrounds us mirrors us. This is the universal truth. We must take responsibility for what it is in our life. And retail brands have retail spaces where consumers walk in, and there are movie halls, there are theaters, there are pubs, there are stores. I mean, you're connecting with consumers beyond the one way of the television or the radio or any other channel. So there's a lot of responsibility, and retail brands can actually build very powerful stuff if you go down this terrain. This is what big cinemas did a couple of years ago. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for standing up for the national anthem. This is, I mean, it just shows us, demonstrates the power of the space that the retail industry offers, where you can connect directly with the consumer and make a huge impact. You will see the
We are
results.
saluting the brave spirit of independent India.
That's right, it's an anthem featuring a differently abled person.
राष्ट्रीय गान एक नए अंदाज में
short film on the national anthem. हम प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत करते हैं एक नए तरीके से.
Fabulous, and through their silence they inspired everyone in that auditorium more than through all the words that we hear being echoed in our halls of parliament.
It was a really moving experience for me.
So communication and advertising and ideas have the power to move consumers like nothing else. I wish we have many more ideas like this coming out of you guys soon, because this is what should move consumers and make you love the brand all over again. So the law of connection, we move to the law of connection. Even if something we do, and all this is in our Puranas, okay? We've just anglicized this, written in English. It's already there. Even if something we do seems inconsequential, it is very important that it gets done, as everything in the universe is connected. And how do you connect with your consumers in a completely different way? I think T-Mobile, a couple of 4 years ago, showed us how, with this amazing video which has got the most number of views on YouTube, and many brands have copied this. I mean, activity in a mall, we've heard, the retail space, a mall is a well-known retail space. What do you do in a mall? So one person starts it and it becomes a chain reaction. So, any guesses? I mean, I'm sure you've seen this online, but just a quick question. On, in that mall, on the ground floor, there was the largest store of a certain mobile company. Which store was that? The question was not for Mr. Swami, but anyway. So this is what you can do with retail spaces, to connect with the people, so the law of connection, you know, it might be inconsequential at first. It's just a couple of choreographers and 100 people on who they've hired for that particular day, but the kind of connection it made and the way it went viral, I mean, everybody connected with the brand. And every other brand in the retail space wanted to do something like this. We've got a lot of clients who give us this example, you know, back to us and say, like, why don't you do something like this in the retail space? The law of focus, again from our Puranas. You cannot think of two things at the same time. I won't go into the spiritual values, but we can see how it sort of echoes.
Cinder is a software development platform for creative coding, with a special emphasis on real-time graphics, audio, and next-generation input, like multi-touch and depth cameras. It's being used in physical installations, mobile apps, music visualizers, and countless other types of projects. Originally written as an in-house tool, Cinder has since been open-sourced and has quickly taken on a life of its own, with a huge global community not just using it, but contributing back with new source code, bug fixes, and documentation. It's now opening the door for a growing list of advertising, design, technology, and visual effects companies to create a whole new category of work for their clients, and the results are impressive. Cinder is also an exciting example of the ad industry not just responding to, but actually leading tech innovation. A number of technology giants are leaning on Cinder for products as well as R&D. New hardware from Microsoft, Intel, and the recently announced Leap input device have all shipped specifically with Cinder support built in. Beyond commercial use, academic institutions around the world are also using it for research and teaching it in their courses. Cinder continues to evolve and advance to keep up with the creative technology needs of its community. Its status as an open source project demonstrates a new way of working for our industry. Even as we compete on the creative, we can still cooperate on the technology.
The reason I put this in is the law said focus. And I think Cinder is probably the most focused brand on its strength. And initially it started off as an open source sort of software where it invited people to sort of get in and share ideas, and then they would build brands, build retail spaces, design retail environments for different companies around the world. But constantly they're growing. Every year we'll see a lot of innovative work coming out from this company. So if you're in the retail space, just look up Cinder. It's a fabulous sort of program which you can do on your own brands. And I think the world is moving towards that retail environment where there is a lot more interaction between the consumer and the product. Even with an attendant or without an attendant, you can actually experience the product live, and that's the deal. In outdoor spaces, in retail spaces, in indoor spaces, it's just the sky's the limit. The law of giving and hospitality is number 8. I mean, you've got to give and you've got to give back. So here's a retail brand which sort of took this head on and did something really cool and went on to win many Cannes Lions with this campaign. This is just a...
Well wrapped as well.
Yeah.
Nice decoration. Elastic bands.
Elastic bands from Harvey Nichols, Dad.
Sorry, I spent it on myself. Gift collection.
Yeah, that's what the range is called.
Elastic band gift set.
Yeah.
Right.
2.
2?
I got 2. Oh.
Oh.
I do hope you haven't spent all your precious money on me, naughty boy. Paper clips.
Yeah.
Harvey Nichols.
Yeah. Yeah, they're from Harvey Nichols, so
Harvey Nichols?
I don't think anyone's ever got you anything from Harvey Nichols.
Wow.
It's toothpicks.
Yeah. You love toothpicks.
What is it? It's a sink plug.
A little something for them, a bigger something for you.
Fabulous campaign from one of London's biggest stores, and sorry I spent it on myself. You know, the fact that the stuff in the store is so good that I don't want to buy for anybody else, but because it's the season of giving, they created a series of products which were paper clips and all sorts of things, which earplugs and toothpicks and a whole bunch of them which just went viral, and you know, people just would buy it for fun, you know. But again, a great shift from the retail brand, from a retail brand. When you're talking about law of giving and hospitality, you're in the same space, but you're bucking the trend and doing something really cool, and people, the consumers who even receive those toothpicks would still love you for it because it's from Harvey Nichols. The law of here and now, the example first and then we'll talk about it.
Pixelated.
How do you use what you have in your retail space? In this case, a bunch of shoes to create something cool in the retail environment. We have seen mannequins, we see store windows, but here's something really cool that you know you can do in your store with your product.
Shoe attached to the one at the front. 3090, and then through to the thing. Back again, like that.
She said you know me well. I've seen you, little Stephen and Joanna around the back of my hotel. Oh yeah. Somerset.
So you can do great stuff with your own product and create something cool that draws consumers in, draws walk-ins and converts to sale. The law of change. So in retail, that's an important law, I believe, where you've got to constantly be on the edge and keep changing every season. We work on a lot of fashion brands, and there's spring, summer, there's autumn, winter, and it keeps changing. But how do you sort of push yourself to do something really cool? Here's an ad just to demonstrate that law.
As far as I can remember, I have always lived with elephants. Then one day, I discovered I had a power over them. So I decided to train them to do something special. The elephant tower. My elephant towers became bigger and bigger. I was famous all over India. But I was wrong about those animals. Elephants were not a good idea. I think I'm back.
So elephants don't work one season, try hippos the next, you know. But keep changing. I think you should do that. The law of patience and reward, again from the Puranas. All rewards require initial toil, persistence, patience and all that. Let's see how a commercial sort of builds that.
可以起床喽。 非常辛辣。Time to get up, baby. Come on.
In retail, one of the biggest things is to reward your consumers for walking in. You always give them away freebies and all that. Here's what P&G did to moms.
P&G, proud sponsor of moms.
And they didn't just leave it at an ad which came on television. During the Olympics in China, they actually did this innovatively in retail spaces, where if a lady walked in and bought a particular P&G product, they actually gave her a t-shirt which said, "Thank you, Mom," and gave her a lot of freebies which were related to the product she was buying. So it is a retail experience which started off as an idea in communication, right? The last law, the law of significance and inspiration. I wanted to make this session a bit interactive, but I think I've sped up and forgotten about that. But you can ask me questions whenever you want on any particular thing, and we can go back to the particular examples, okay? Sorry. You have to inspire. I mean, if you don't inspire your consumer, they'll never come back to your store or to your brand. And this is a lesson we've learned in advertising over and over again. For some reason, yeah.
I'm 100 years old, and I want to tell the world what I have learned.
Live for now, because life is good. You make it good.
You will learn not to cheat.
There are miracles all around you.
Stay young.
Always tell the truth.
Keep your eyes open, and sometimes your mouth shut.
Don't complain.
Tell it like it is.
Don't bitch.
Hesitate and you lose.
Put the pedal to the metal.
Live fast.
And never, ever forget where you came from.
Outstanding for a brand to do that. And they actually had these people test driving Dodge cars, all the 100-year-olds. One last example, and then we can go interactive.
Brands often give stuff. Brands often give stuff away for free. Free product samples, free merchandise, free tickets. Usually, consumers don't have to do anything to receive these prizes. At most, they might be asked to scratch a card or draw a lottery number to get their prize. But in the world of Gatorade, rewards only come to those who put in the effort to receive them. For Gatorade, is no sweat, no gain. So when Gatorade asked us to help them create a promotional campaign, we knew it wasn't going to be about giving stuff away for free. Consumers would need to work to get their prize. And the greatest evidence of their effort was their sweat. So we created a unique instant win promotional program that only Gatorade could do. The Sweat and Win Challenge. We designed Gatorade t-shirts. Each had one of two messages. One said you're a winner. The other invited you to keep sweating. The only way to reveal which one you got was by breaking a sweat. Those who had the winning message got sports-related prizes. Those who didn't took home a cool t-shirt. We took the Sweat and Win Challenge to different sports venues around the country. The world's best 10K, Ironman, and gyms. So far, over 20,000 t-shirts have been handed out. 0 stayed dry.
An important point to leave you with is you don't need to go beyond your product for your promotion. I mean, you can actually delve into what your product delivers and push that needle to create something cool as a freebie or a giveaway which connects with the consumers and keeps them engaged with your brand for a long time to come. Thank you. I think that was your commercial break. Back to the serious stuff after this.
Thank you so much, Mr. Senthil Kumar.
Thank you. Unless you have any questions on the commercial break, I can move on. Yeah.
None of the brands what you've shown are Indians, are not endorsed by any brand ambassadors.
Big cinemas. I deliberately put big cinemas there because I knew this question was coming.
Not much, but they can sell whole world. Okay, either Nike or Pepsi. But even though Indian market retail is so big, are we still lack of the ideas?
I think at the very beginning of no matter what communication or what connection you want to make with your consumer, you have to have an idea. I've not put Indian examples here because I mean they have not seen fantastic retail case studies or videos which I have with me. These are most of the brands that I work with, so I have a lot of sort of content which I have sort of compiled in my database, and I sort of use it and make a presentation to you guys. But this was just to everything else is Indian. All the 12 laws of the karma are from our Puranas. It's not from anywhere else. So I'm just trying to build a bridge between, because what has been said in the Puranas, the laws of karma actually holds true today in the world of communication, in the world of new retail strategies for the new competitive environment as well.
But mostly in India, we try to sell the product through brand ambassadors. Okay, I mean.
So I also work on a lot of brands where we use brand ambassadors. But I think initially you have to have an idea before you move to the brand ambassador, because if you don't have a brand idea which sort of connects with your consumers, I mean, no matter which celebrity you use, they'll just become wallpaper. So I think it's the idea that makes the connection with the consumer, and you can add as much as you want. So you can cast Amitabh Bachchan if you have all the money, or you can cast a tall, friendly neighborhood man in the same place. Yeah. 13th one's the law of yoga, is it? Patanjali. See, that's one of the reasons I didn't put any Indian examples. That's it. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Senthil Kumar, and for the presentation that you put over last night. So I think kudos to him. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Every time, just 12 hours before. And of course, connecting with all of us through the national anthem, I think nobody would have been able to get all of us to stand up, but he did. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, of course. We would request you to kindly stay back here with us, and we would love to invite Mr. Ashwin Pai, General Manager of VRL Media, to kindly present a memento to Mr. Senthil Kumar. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause, please? We really appreciate you taking out time and sharing all those wonderful videos and that presentation with us. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please give it up for Mr. Senthil Kumar. All right. We all have heard a lot about retail marketing. We've heard a lot of strategies. But now it's time to talk about the importance of organizing retail space. And of course, to give us an insight on this topic, we have a designer who's passionate about multifaceted design. She believes that the question why, this particular question why, has the answer to most of the questions. She has over a decade of experience with projects ranging from experiential center, F&B, flagship stores, and multi-brand outlets to signature residences and apartments. Well, after her architectural course, which fueled her passion towards architectural branding and the use of visual media as a metaphor to further enrich design. She holds a master's in spatial design from Domus Academy in Milan, and she is also an alumni of Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. Currently, she is the head of Hansa Retailscape, Retail Branding and Solutions Division of the R.K. Swamy Hansa Group. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear with a roar of applause, give it up for the beautiful, I must say, the beautiful Shruti, yes. We have Shruti Swamy. Everybody give it up, please.
Do we have a clicker or something? Hi. Okay. We're here to talk about the importance of organizing retail spaces in the context of new retail strategies for the new competitive environment. There's a lot of new over here. So if you think about how we conventionally think of retail spaces, we can, to an extent, to a great extent, bring it down to logic. And it's about making the last mile work. But when I say this, I say it with a caveat. This is based on what we know as retail today. But if you're going to talk about new retail strategies for a new competitive environment, what does that hold? Where does that come from? Making this last mile work is based on the logic that we derive from big data, shoppers marketing, market research, consumer behavior, and so much more. We spend a lot of money on advertising, promotions, market research, whatever I've mentioned so far. But what does it actually mean? It actually comes down to converting your retail shelf space to sales. Now that is important, isn't it? That's what we're all trying to do. We're trying to convert display to sales. But is that what is important? If you step back for a minute and think about what shopping actually is. You go to the store, grocery store maybe, you buy some groceries, you go pick up some clothes maybe at a hypermarket or a supermarket. You go buy your brother a pair of shoes, you go to the Apple store, pick up some merchandise there. But what exactly are you doing? It actually comes down to purchase decisions, right? It actually comes down to converting somebody to say, yes, I'm going to make that purchase. The important question here is why, ladies and gentlemen. Why are they saying yes? What makes them say yes? How do we make them say yes? Is it a simple matter of the right product at the right price, at the right placement within the store? Has somebody made a successful pre-purchase? Or is there a compelling story or theme setting that's making them go and make that purchase? The right product, right price, right placement is the medium that we've been moving forward with till now. But if you see in the future, this is going to have to change, and here's why. We've had Rishi from Urban Ladder come and have a word with us. We all know that with Amazon and Flipkart and Gophers and all of these wonderful, wonderful online marketplaces that make our lives so much more convenient, that we are all becoming couch potato kind of people. I, for one, do all my grocery shopping only from Gophers or Big Basket. I can't remember the last time I've actually been to the store to pick up something, unless it's about, oh, I forgot like one small thing, or I need to pick up a particular item which wasn't available online. We're all busy people today, and we want the convenience of being able to buy what we want to buy, when we want to buy it. We don't want to have to say, I have to finish my work and then go and pick up something. I need to do something here and then get somewhere else before that. We don't want those hassles anymore, do we? So we are all moving towards this era, whether we believe it whether we like it or not. Going to the retail store is definitely now becoming an option. Does this mean that these kind of stores are going to become extinct? Absolutely not. But does it mean that we have to be aware that we have serious competition in this area? Yes, we have to be aware of that. Consumers today don't want to be sold to. They want to be wooed. They want to be courted. They want to be understood. Because they have the option of going wherever they wanted. They have the option of going to a brick and mortar store. They have the option of going and checking something out at a brick and mortar store and going online and making the purchase that they wanted. So they don't require to be heart sold. They require to be courted. They require to believe in a brand. They require to buy into the question of why. Why a particular product? The what a product does, many products can do. But why that particular brand? They have to believe and buy into that question of why they want to buy a particular brand. And that's what builds brand loyalty, and that's what's going to help in the retail space as well. Earlier, or even in many places, even in our own country, people used to buy or go shopping because they needed stuff. Now, they can do it anywhere. Think about it. When people go to the mall or when they go out, say to Commercial Road or to Linking Street or to even MG Road, it becomes a whole exercise. It's not about running to the store and coming back anymore. If you go out, you go out with friends, you go out with family, you go do a bit of shopping, you go eat a bit. It becomes a whole evening. It becomes an outing. It no longer is a chore. It no longer is about going out, making a single point of purchase and coming back. So that's something that we have to be keenly aware of, because now Urban Ladder, Flipkart, they've changed the way we do our work, the way we buy our stuff. We have to be aware of that. For discussing this further, for describing this further, I'd like to talk about something called the courtship ritual between the retail space and the customer. The customer's first view of any retail space should be one of a double take. Imagine you're walking down a high street, imagine you're going down a mall, wherever it is, whatever it is, it has to be where you grab the person's attention. I'll give you an example. Last year I was going on a road trip in the US, and this was on the Pacific Coast Highway, and it was so beautiful. We were driving by, it was so beautiful, I just had to stop, cross the road, take the view in, actually walked all the way down till we got onto those rocks there, experienced the wind on my face. It was beautiful. So it's a journey I will not forget. It's just a photograph here, right? It's just a sea, it's just the wind, it's just the breeze, sand, some foreground of grass, but it was the experience. It was an immeasurable, unforgettable experience, right? So now this is something of what I'm saying should be in a retail space as well. For this, the flood zone. This is what I'm calling where you're walking by and then you find something that catches your attention. You're like, hello there. That's your retail storefront. I'm calling this the flood zone. What is the flood zone? This is where you first interact with the brand and the brand interacts back with you. Metaphorically speaking, of course, we're talking about the shop window. Whose shop window? All your shop windows. Now this need not be true. This need not be the case only for large format stores. This need not be the case only for mall stores. This is any store, albeit not a commodity store where you have only biscuits and medicines. But even that we will talk about a little later. But this is for any of your larger FMCG kind of outlets and your mall outlets as well. So in your flood zone, you have your brand, okay? And the important thing to remember here is a brand has to be true to itself. None of what I'm going to say today is going to hold any water if the brand is going to try and be different from its brand personality. It's very important to stay true to the brand that you are. The brand in your shop display is going to talk about who I am as a brand, what I stand for, who am I targeting, what is my style statement, and the shopper that's going by and is looking at your shop window is going to be thinking, ooh, do I like that? Do I relate to it? Can I afford it? Do I want to afford it? Do I want to stretch my pocket a bit more and afford it? Should I check it out? Now, when there's a fit between these two, that's when the person who's actually standing outside your store is going to feel like venturing into your store. So this is the first line of contact, and it's pretty much like any two human interactions where the brand takes on a persona here. Burberry is an excellent example for this. They have a strong brand sense. They know what they stand for. They're all about Brit. They're all about being upmarket and Brit, yet they have a huge aspirational value. If you look at their, these are architectural buildings from outdoor, and those are mall formats. So those are flagship stores and they are mall formats. Irrespective of which format that they have gone for, their branding is consistent. The language that they're speaking is consistent. The message they're putting out to the consumer is consistent. They're being true to who they are. They're being true to their brand. Therefore, they're being true to their consumer. They are not sending out mixed messages. They are being extremely clear to the consumer or their customer, and the customer appreciates and respects that. The customer knows if they want to be a part of the Burberry journey or not. Now, if you think of retail space, how would you as a consumer experience it? How would you want to experience it? How can we organize a retail layout to optimize space and reinforce brand loyalty? How important is brand loyalty? A well-organized retail space is a product of multiple complex dialogues between various key aspects. What are these aspects? The space available. Now here we're talking about the physical construct, right? The space available, the number of items on display, the margins on each item. Of course, we have to consider where we place these items. If it's fast moving, if it's need based, if it's an impulse purchase, there are a lot of information that we take into consideration when we decide where each product goes into a store. But this is something that's easily replicable across brands. This is something that's easily replicable across places. So how are you going to stand out by just doing this? It's extremely hard. That's why we bring in the brand philosophy, the brand dialect, stories and themes that we're going to follow, which will be based on the brand philosophy and brand dialect. The vistas, and most importantly, the mother of all, budget. Frankly, budget should have gone to the other side because it's not something to do with your brand philosophy or brand dialect, but that's going to be one of your most important key things that we have to work with when we're working in a store space as well. Another important thing that brands and retailers have to digest and accept is that retail is a huge opportunity to build relationships. Relationships created through experiences. We already spoke about how an experience leaves a lasting impression in your mind, vis-a-vis, just going out and doing something because you have to check it off the list. Experiences that are relevant, inspirational, fun, and most importantly, relatable. We already spoke about how it's important to be true as a brand, and therefore true to your customer, and therefore get their loyalty back. Loyalty once broken, it's hard to like repair. It's the story of the China cup. Once it's broken, you can always repair it, but the crack's always going to be seen. So loyalty is something like that. So important to be true to your brand, therefore true to your customer. Relationships increase traction. Traction increases transaction. So again, you may not see it as sales today as off your shelf, but over a longer period of time, over a longer duration, this does lead to money in the bank. The new model that we spoke of earlier, this is a study made by Liquid Agency in Silicon Valley, and here are the numbers. Please have a look. You have a 10% improvement. If you put 10% more effort or value of money into improving the experience of a store, you have a possible 1 billion in returns. 86% of buyers are willing to pay for better experience. Consumers who feel a connect are 4 times more likely to shop with them. Here I'd like to give you a small example. Now I just spoke of how I don't do my grocery shopping anywhere but online because it's so convenient. But there is one store down my road, which I've been going to from when I was a kid. And she knows exactly what flavor of milk I like. So I just have to enter the store, and even before I ask for it, it's there on the counter. And then we have a small chat of how are you, how is your daughter's, not her daughter's school going, and so on and so forth. And it's a small human interaction, but again, that's an experience. That's because I feel a connect with the person. This is a story which I know is true with a lot of other people that I've spoken to. This is an important one. Loyal customers spend 33% more than new customers. Also, you don't have to pay acquisition costs. Like I said earlier, consumers want to be quoted. They do not want to be sold to. Gone are the days where we're here to sell an item, we're here to sell a proposition, we're here to sell a concept, we're here to sell a philosophy. We want to woo them. We want to understand them. They want to feel understood. For this, I would like to just play this small clip for you. This is about the AT&T retail flagship store. It brings out exactly what I've been speaking. There's no volume? Created an experience center. They dispelled the notion of having any sales, pretty similar to what Zwami did. They had an experience center where people can come in, engage with their products. They were true to themselves as thought leaders in technology. They created an amazing space where anybody could go and understand their products, understand the service offerings that were there. Available? It's come? Okay. So we're going to watch a little bit about what they've done and how they've changed how people perceive AT&T and how they have changed the typical AT&T store format into something spectacular. It's working? They had a 10,000 square foot store which they converted to a digital playground. The purpose there was just to build brand connect. I've been to this store and it's mind-boggling. I felt like a kid in a candy store. I didn't want to leave. I spent the entire day there just like going through all their technological advances, things that can happen. It was superb. I just wish you. No? You want to go to settings? Okay. Okay. There's no volume here either.
Check. Meanwhile, if you have any questions for Shruti, please make daughter, we must say.
Shall I just go on without the presentation? Yeah, let's just like go to the next.
Can I ask a question, please?
You have a question? Is there a question?
Yeah.
All right, great. Shruti, we have a question for you.
Yes.
Yeah, hi.
Please stand up and introduce yourself and yeah.
I'm
great.
standing. Okay. My name is Prakash. You've been talking about AT&T physical, experiences, touch and feel like that. How much is the virtual also helping, to connect and to take it forward?
Sorry, what?
How much is virtual helping you to connect with the brand and take it forward? You've been talking about touch and feel. You said you spent a whole day.
I actually have. Oh, in this one.
In the AT&T or whatever you're talking about in the commercial which you're trying to show to us is all about physical, right?
Yeah.
So now virtual also being real now. So we always experience that virtual. Now it is coming. So how much of a virtual will also help to engage the brands and to take it forward as what you're taking it for physical now?
I actually have an example of that as well with Prada. But if you talk of the AT&T store, they also have a section which is all dedicated to virtual reality. you can actually experience how a BMW car drives.
Absolutely.
Vis-a-vis a Volkswagen, vis-a-vis another car. So you can actually test drive these different cars and understand what suits you or what you like. Just giving you an example. So in terms of using virtual reality, sky's the limit, because we're just beginning to explore that realm, and things are only going to get more and more realistic as time goes by.
So virtual will also contribute a little more than what it is, and the physical can come down as well.
Frankly speaking, we should have caught up with virtual many years ago. I'm just going to go ahead with the presentation. I'll come back to this video because the next video does not really require an audio input, audio output. It requires it's only got a background score, so it's okay.
Okay,
so
thank you.
I'm just going to go ahead with this presentation as of now, but I will come back to this video if you guys are still interested to watch it. As per AT&T's research, consumers who want to buy a specific product will simply do that online. This is as per their research, their own research. But for those who enter their store, the purpose is to experience and to learn and to build, and this is from the point of view of the customer walking in. But why did AT&T do this? Is to again show that they're market leaders in this particular category, to draw people in, to build that trust with people. They already have that, but then we are in a market which is completely competitive. Are we like jumping my slides now? Okay. So what does this mean? It basically means that the physical environment must adapt to customers' requirements as well. Now, in this AT&T store, this is the AT&T flagship store. Okay, I'm just going to stand here because I can't. It's glaring. I can't read what's off the screen there. The circular structure over there is where the entrance is. Okay, so as you walk through, and now this, even though this is all about technology, even though this space has been so completely technologically driven, the layout goes back to 101 of how retail layouts are done, where you have a decompression zone as soon as you enter, then you have lower tables in front, and then you have your wall units towards the end, and you have vistas and avenues, and you have areas which draw your attention as your classical layout does. So even though this is completely technologically driven, the science of actual retail display has not been dispelled. It's only been enhanced. As you can see, different colors marked different areas, had different themes, had different storylines. So, and each was very clear in its messaging, which is something important when it comes down to sending out the right message, not even brand wise, but just to your customer or to your consumer. Because we all know that when a consumer or customer enters your store, they'd make a snapshot of the entire store at one glance. If that snapshot is confusing or cluttered or disorganized, the chances of them leaving without making a purchase is much higher. I don't have a statistic for that, but it is much higher. And the chances of them purchasing less if as they're going through the same proposition of unclear messaging. When I say messaging, I do not mean signage. I mean the way your merchandise is displayed. If it's not grouped together correctly, if it is not coded together correctly, if there's not enough adequate aisle space, if people not having enough space to actually do their shopping, physical space, the chances of them buying less is higher. Having said this, however, you have a demography of people who like to enter stores that are completely cluttered, but that's, for example, Sarvana stores or a big bazaar equivalent, which is a totally different case study that we are not covering today. So this is your AT&T store from outside. As you walk by, it's just simple glass. It's just glass. But as you walk by, the projections on your glass completely keep changing. They change into different hand-sketched views of your Chicago skyline. It was extremely fascinating to watch for a visitor to the city. I'm pretty sure it was fascinating for people living in the city as well, because a lot of people standing around and taking photographs and videos and whatnot. But more than what's in your storefront, so this is your flirt zone, right? So more than what's in your storefront, you could actually see what's inside as well. It was intriguing. You wanted to go in, you wanted to find out a little bit more, even though I'm not a big geek, or at least a tech geek. So this is your decompression zone that I spoke of. As soon as you enter, you had a little zone which is not cluttered, which is welcoming. You walked in there, you had somebody who welcomed you inside, and even if you didn't have, you can feel the expansive space that makes you not think, okay, it's pretty welcoming. Every area has been clearly demarcated with different scopes that they're trying to promote. In this area, you had completely touchscreen walls, which are interactive. This is a less tactile area, more of your physical hard display area, but even that has been very clearly categorized to your floor standing units, medium heights, nothing which is too tall to take your vision away from the expanse of the space, but designed compactly enough to keep your attention in a smaller area. Now, in AT&T, as we know, is a technologically driven brand or a store, and technology allows for tailored and customer centric experiences. This we know from other examples we've seen earlier, and from whatever we've read upon, and I can tell you that much as well. But how do you use technology to influence, this is to answer your question, how do you use technology to influence a store layout more effectively? Now this is an example from way back in 2001, not 2011, 2001. And this is what Prada did in 2001. Please have a look, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, there's no music. He's just picking up shoes, browsing stuff. But look what happens here. He's giving her the customer card. It's an RFID card which has everything the customer likes, the customer preferences, sizes, and so on and so forth. Now this need not just be for a high-end brand, right? This can actually happen for any store, any product. He's scanning whatever she likes and dumping it onto a larger system. So she gets to see what it looks like on the ramp and otherwise. The touchscreen access to detailed information where she can actually see how she looks when she's wearing the merchandise that she's picked up. She enters the changing room, press of a button, glasses turn opaque. So she doesn't have to keep walking in and out of the change room. All of this adds to the customer's experience. Of course, a regular door works just fine, but this adds to what the brand stands for, the exclusivity the brand stands for, the uniqueness the brand stands for, the avant-garde nature the brand stands for. So this may not work with another brand which does not have these core brand values or brand philosophy. This works for this brand. All I'm trying to say is this is something that was in the store in 2001, and is perhaps something we should all be looking at a little more seriously in 2016. It's not about the technology. Technology is only an enabler. It's about creating an experience. Now this experience can be created even in a completely non-technological way, in a completely non-technological experience zone as well. It can be in your supermarket where you have, instead of having your general floor standing units or your floor display area, if you have a little corner, for example, okay, where you have a little corner where you, we've seen this in a lot of exhibitions, right, where people stand in corners, cook with a particular masala, fry a particular kind of chip, and let us experience that or taste that, and then we make a purchase. This is also an experience where you say, have any of you done that, where you've gone to an exhibition, tasted something over there, recall that taste later, and then sought that product even after you've left that particular experience zone. So an experience stays in your mind much longer than just seeing something. So it's very important to try and create that experience. Another example to take this forward is using this brand called Story in New York, where the founder of Story says, don't think about sales as don't think about sales per square foot, but experiences per square foot. Now this is a very profound statement to make, and it's a very important statement to make as well. That's been made as well, because honestly today it's the experience that's trying to hold a client back in terms of customer loyalty. We've spoken about that for the last 20 minutes or so, so I'm not going to go over that again. What does Story do? So Story has an outlet which reinvents itself every 4 to 8 weeks. It treats itself like a magazine, like a 3D, hardcore, in-space magazine. So every 4 to 8 weeks, the theme changes. So entire retail structure of Story changes. It could be on wellness, which basically means that you have nothing to do with anything but wellness there. It could be about cool, is that what it says? It could be about her, it could be about whatever it is. But the underlying thing is to create an experience. In this particular store format as well, the basic, though the store format kept changing, the basic structure of what we know as retail merchandising display has not, it still holds good. You still talk about your focal points, you still talk about making sure each corner is independently uncluttered, that the customer who walks in understand intuitively what you're trying to display and what you're trying to sell. Coming back to the slide that I showed earlier with the numbers, take a quick look at this. This is why we are saying the experience is extremely important in holding back a customer in terms of loyalty. I would like to close this if I can do it. Have I got audio yet? Have I got audio yet? Okay. Then there's no point in me playing this video, but I would urge you all to go and have a look at the Nike Lab video on YouTube. It's brilliant. It's brilliant simply because they are so true, that the space is so true. Like we saw in terms of Converse, right? The space is so true to the product. They try and create this space, keeping in mind what's important to the product. They haven't used shoes in the space the way All Stars had, but they have gone into the detail of how the store layout is going to be, what merchandising they're going to use, how they're actually going to be putting it together based on the core philosophy of Nike. So I urge you to have a look at this link on YouTube, this Nike Lab link. And I'd like to close by saying you have to be disruptive. You can't be afraid to fail, because we are in a very highly competitive market right now. We have to try and keep reinventing ourselves. We have to push ourselves every day. So basically, we're all innovators. We're all here to innovate. Let's do this. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Right, thank you, Shruti. Life can happen at the press of a button. We request you to kindly stay back right here with us. And we would like to invite Shobha Kulkarni from VRL Group, who's with VRL Group for almost 32 years now. Ladies and gentlemen, we request you to present a memento to Shruti for that wonderful presentation over there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And for taking out the time and joining us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Shruti.
Thank you very much.
It's amazing to have the father-daughter duo right here with us today. We're really, really privileged. Thank you, Shruti. Thank you so much. Once again, please give it up for her. Now, may I actually request Mr. Srinivasan K. Swami to kindly join us on stage. Please welcome him on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, President IAA India Chapter and VP Development IAA Asia Pacific.
Really?
I would like to also invite Mr. Ramesh Narayan, who is the IAA Mancom member and Hall of Fame awardee for his contribution in the advertising agency. Please welcome him with an applause as well. Now, we would like to invite Mr. Anand Sankeshwar, who is the Managing Director of VRL Logistics and VRL Media Limited. We request you to present a memento as a token of love, appreciation, and let both these gentlemen over here and IAA know that we're extremely thankful for all your support. So ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for our dignitaries right here. And may I request sir to share a few thoughts.
To add on the IAA front, like as you saw the video and Mr. Sundar Swami's presentation and what he spoke about IAA, like last 2.5 years I'm involved with the IAA and very interesting and very vibrant. Like to quote very 3-4 examples, like everyone knows Narendra Modi, Shah Rukh Khan, or Tendulkar. Like recently when there was a Silver Jubilee event happened in Kerala in September, like the chief guest where opening was done by Shah Rukh Khan and closing ceremony was done by Sachin Tendulkar and Sadhguruji from Coimbatore. Similarly, this year there was an event in March in Mumbai. John Abraham was the chief guest, and last year Amitabh Bachchan had he was the chief guest. And last year Narendra Modi, when he was the chief minister of Gujarat, he was the chief guest for the IAA event. So that's how IAA presents. So there are our team will get in touch later on. If whoever friends want to be on the IAA to become a member, you are most welcome. Thank you.
Well done, sir. Thank you very much, Farhan. You've been a great support to IAA. He's a very active member of the IAA Mancom and very happy about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Please, let's have a round of applause for all three of them. Well, this brings us to the last topic of the evening. It is very important indeed. How to build a strong valuation for your retail brand. So our speaker over here, Ramesh Jude Thomas, is the President and Chief Knowledge Officer of Equator Value Advisory Private Limited, the erstwhile Indian partner for Interbrand. Well, he is credited with introducing brand valuation as a strategic business tool in the Indian industry. He has led India's first known strategic brand valuation for Titan Industries, and he's often called upon to speak to business audiences, company managements, and more recently, sovereign governments. He has done, he's a prolific writer and a TED speaker. So ladies and gentlemen, please join your hands together for the President and Chief Knowledge Officer, Equator Value Advisory. It is Ramesh Jude Thomas. Please give it up for him, everybody.
Very nice. Okay. Adarniya Swamiji,
Good. Okay, I'm kidding. Anand, Sundar, Ramesh, thanks for the invitation. I'm grateful for that you invited me to share my 2 bits here. What I'm not grateful about, however, I must state that, is to be the speaker between the beautiful, beautiful Shruti and the booze. The only guy standing between you and the booze is me. And that too, for a topic that's slightly technical, and it has financial overtones. That means a really bad guy. I'm not sure even Mr. Donald Trump could have got out of this one. But I'll tell you what, because we tried to speak to the organizers, get you booze at the tables while I was speaking, they didn't agree. So what I'll try and do is make it short. Okay? I will not do anything technical. I will keep the financials the bare minimum. I'll try and keep it simple. But what we'll do is we'll just examine 3 fundamental first principles. Okay? First, and I think it's important because I've been speaking about the 15 years in India, are brands really business assets? Can we recognize them as business assets? First. Second is, does that value apply as much to retail today, in today's environment, as it should to any other business? And the third is that what do you focus on to try and build brands in the context of retail as true business assets? That's it, 3 things. Couple of examples each so that we can get to figure out whether we can relate to that example or not in the context of each of those first principles. Is that good? Okay, and you got to talk to me. If you don't talk to me, it doesn't work. I just got 8 slides. The first, let's try and figure out on first principles whether brands are really assets or not. It's good to say things like brand building, we are investing into brands, everyone says that. But are they really business assets from a business point of view? How does it actually impact valuations and how does it impact operating performance? And that's what all of us finally are going to do. Many of you in this room would have read this book by a lady called Naomi Klein. Right? She got really angry about a decade ago, and she said, brands are the worst things that could have happened to any economy. Outside of that, what I'm going to ask us to do is to try and imagine a couple of businesses, right, net of their brands or without their brands. Which do you think is the most venerable, biggest, largest brand in the country, most valuable brand? He's lost in America, yeah. The most valuable brand from India, Indian brand. All right, Tata, fine. You're right. I mean, by most measurements, Tata comes up on top, and I have no quarrels with that. Now, just think of a Tata. Think of any number of businesses, the Tata Group. They've got some 94 odd right now. Think of their biggest ones, the 4 big ones. Imagine that the business CEOs were told that they couldn't use the word Tata from tomorrow. Right? Tata Steel or TCS or Tata Motors or even whatever. Can't use the word Tata. Everything else is the same. Nothing's going to change. All your budgets are intact. But you can't use the word Tata from tomorrow. Tata Sons decide because Tata Sons owns the brand. You know that. What happens? Sorry? Yeah, my more fundamental question, I'm here as a businessman. Like someone said, Panam. He said, Panam. From a Panam point of view, what happens to the business? Right, okay. My question is, from a value point of view, value only exists if you can forecast without risk. Simple concept of value. Which of these business CEOs can stand up and say that I will maintain my forecast without the Tata brand? How many of you can say? How much risk will there be to those businesses just by removing those 4 letters? Massive. Which means your risk goes up, your discount goes up. By any simple mechanical calculation of valuation, your valuation is going to come down. Right? So these businesses are going to get tremendously devalued only by removing that word Tata. Nothing else. Everything else. I mean, the same trucks, the same cars, same quality, same everything. Right? So obviously, by definition, we've just demonstrated, it has to be a massive business asset which has a huge contribution to the overall value of the business. Which means you remove the word Tata, right, and the value of the business comes down. Value of each of these businesses come down. Forget about the product brands. Agree? Okay. Let's take a brand which is not so venerable. I would say much maligned. Okay. Flipkart, सब गाली देते हैं. उसका valuation इतना बड़ा है. How much? $15 billion. They've got a GMV which is only 5 billion. The revenue is less. They will never make profits. फलाना टिकना बहुत गाली देते हैं. Okay. Let's look at that. Again, everything is going to be the same. Technology platform, customers, internet interface, everything is same. Only remove the word Flipkart. Just remove the word Flipkart. Forget about the profits. We can discuss that over a drink later. But will they be able to even maintain their GMVs which they enjoy currently? Just remove the word Flipkart. Which means whether you're an old venerable business or not such a venerable, somewhat maligned business, a new business, whichever way you look at it, remove the logo, you lost half of it. Right? In many cases. So it is a business asset. I'm just saying first principles. I don't want to get into the technicalities, how valuation is done. We can discuss it over dinner. But fundamentally, if you use what we call a test of absence, no brand, risky business. Yes? So it must be an asset. This roughly as on date are what the constituents of a business value are when you look at what we call enterprise value. If you break up enterprise value into 3 component parts, this is what you get. 26% or a fourth, only a fourth, is what you see in your financial statements, which is your balance sheet. The rest of it is not there. Even if you look at market cap, you will find that the book value of a share is only a fourth of its market value. Where is the rest gone to? Look at acquisitions today. The acquisition price is almost always 4 to 5 times the book value. Where is the rest? The rest is here, right? So approximately 36% is what we call intellectual property, IP, right? The technology, the way of doing business, etc., etc. We popularly call it in classrooms a recipe of the business, right? And the other one, the really big one, is the reputation of the brand. So on the average, 38% of a business is made up of brand. Yeah, in some cases it goes, this is the average, in some cases it goes up to as much as 78% in the context of a Coca-Cola, right? 51% is the Coke brand and the balance 27% is the other brands, which means if you remove the brands from Coke, you lost 3/4 of the business, right? So that's where it is. That's fundamentally what you understand. So brands are very core business assets. It's unfortunate that it's taken a long, long time for something like even an IFRS to come into this country where you need to get brands to be recognized as business assets. Indian GAAP is so ridiculous that even if you buy a brand, the only way you can recognize a brand of financial statements, you buy it. Second is, even if you buy it, you write it off in 10 years. That sounds ridiculous. Imagine just writing off your brand, which means the accounting systems don't even recognize what a powerful influence this is on simple things like growth, like margins and cash flows. 3 simple things that you would measure, isn't it? Now, look at brands even in the context of P&L statement, right? For McDonald's, 3/4 of their profits, right, comes from franchising. What is that? They give their name out to somebody, they give some processes, and they get an earning. There must be some 5 or 6 people sitting in that office and doing their job. But that entire thing is brand income, isn't it? The entire thing is brand income. It's directly related to the fact that you own the McDonald's brand. You're renting a brand, right? We did an acquisition attempt for Forbes, one of our clients, a couple of years ago. And we found in the information mandate that 89% of the net income, that means the profit of someone like Forbes, comes from licensing only. Yeah, just administrative office, permission to use, collect the fees. 89%. Right? $9 out of $10 that Forbes claims on their profit and loss statement is from brand income alone, right? And we all know that franchising, the biggest beneficiary of franchising, is the retail business. Therefore, I can't get myself to extricate brands from retail. Brands are retail businesses. And yet we say, brand baj kiya brand ki, retail mein brand ka koi fayda nahi hai, paisa nahi banane wala hai, discount ka business hai, etc., etc. I don't think it's true. Now, I'll tell you how untrue it is. I think most of you must be familiar with the league table, the 100 most valuable brands of the year that Business Week publishes, right? Now, we just did a quick count up in the office as to which sectors are represented in the 100. Just take a look. The number one business on the world's most valuable brands league table is retail. There are, Rahul, 14? 14 businesses in that league table that are retail businesses. Obviously, retail has a huge impact on economies, on brands, and on business value. Yeah? Fundamental first principles. Now, I want to give you two examples, one large and one small, and then we'll take questions. I'm unhappy that Biju is not with us now, because it pertains to him. The first strategic valuation, as Malita, she said, what's her name? Monita said, was done by us along with, for Titan, okay? Now, let me ask you a question. 10 years ago, in 2006, Titan's about 32 or 33 years old now. In 2006, if you had put 1 lakh of rupees into Titan, what do you think that would have been worth today? If you had bought shares of 1 lakh in Titan in 2006, what do you think it would have been worth today? Quick guess. Don't try and do the calculation from that graph over there. Quick guess, some guesses. 10 lakhs, 14 lakhs, 18 lakhs. Huh? 20 lakhs, good. This is an auction house. 1 lakh of rupees in Titan in 2006, read my lips, would have got you 1 crore of rupees today. If you think I'm bullshitting, go to CNBC, whatever it's called, Money Control, and check out the record. Okay. I'll tell you why. When we met them, they were worth 350 crores in the stock market. It's worth 35,000 crores today. The same company, 35,000 crores, 100 times. Right? How did that happen? Please understand one thing. When we met them, like everybody else who runs a business, you will see yourself as a logistics company or a watchmaking company or a milk and dairy company. Value doesn't come from that. Value never comes, and take this from me, value never comes from what you do. Value comes from who you are. Right? So the 3 fundamental drivers of the Titan brand had little to do with watchmaking. Look at the 3 drivers. Retailing, design, and customer experience. The word Titan was at least 1/3 to do with the quality of retailing that they had established in 1987. Remember, long before modern retail, Titan had established how to retail in a modern way. Till then, you know how we had bought watches, right? Or jewelry. Chahiye, nahi chahiye, chal put. Yeah, they changed it. So retail had a fundamental role to play in the value of such an important brand in the Indian economy like Titan. Right? And then what was simply done was to recast the company again and create a new Titan around these 3 words. That's all they did. They just went back to the basic principles of who they were. They forgot that they were these 3 things. They're not a watchmaker. Right? 100 times. 1 crore for 1 lakh. And a large part of it had to do with retailing. Yeah. This is one of my absolute all-time favorite brands. Very, very small. I don't know how many people in this room are familiar with it. How many people in the room are familiar with it? Yeah, the Bombay guys will be familiar with it. Outstanding brand. It's very small. The point I'm making is Titan is that big. Fine. This is tiny. It's got 7 stores. It doesn't matter how small you are. Yeah. Retail still benefits from a strong brand. Okay. And the quality of any business largely in the market is built on 3 very simple parameters. 1, are you considered? So when you think of confectionery, which is the first brand that comes to mind for most Bombay people? Theo Brahma. 7 stores, just 7 stores, small. Okay, this is true for any business. If you are not in consideration, you are a risky brand. You are a risky business, I'm sorry. The second, am I happy enough to keep going back to that business only? Repeat purchase or loyalty, whatever you want to call it. If you don't enjoy loyalty, you are a risky business for many reasons, even on bottom lines. 1, your business becomes unpredictable. 2, your business becomes price sensitive. Not okay. And the third is advocacy. If people are not happy enough to speak about it to somebody else, you are a risky business. Theo Brahma enjoys all 3. And ask anybody in this room who has experienced that brand. It is horribly expensive compared, if you make a comparison physically, which I most of the time don't do, and I'm sure Ramesh doesn't do it either, right? You will not make the comparison, but it's horribly expensive compared to any other millionaire brownie you want to buy, but you still buy it, right? I never go through Terminal 2 today without buying a hell of a lot of Theo Brahma, right? He enjoys all 3. Tiny store. So I'm saying it doesn't matter what business, size of business you do. It doesn't matter what product you sell. Even if you're in retail, more than anything else, you have to build these 3 metrics, right? These 3 metrics make for a quality business, and they build a fabulous brand in the process, which in the process gives you tremendous valuation. So I'm saying retail is far from dead. Retail is not just location. Retail is about destination. Retail is about reputation. And retail is about growth and value. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ramesh.
Sorry? How many? How many is the question? Okay. Multiples? All right, go ahead.
Right, do we have any questions?
Yes,
right,
sir.
I see. Can we have a mic this side, please?
The local brand from the Bangalore, can I name? Is it, no, it brings any difficulty, means there is no...
I won't sue you, don't worry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The local brand, the retailer, the retail company, FMCG, the MTR, they sold by Mayas. Now the same brand was produced by them, the Mayas. Both are the same, the products bought by the same producer, Sadanand Maya. One, it has been, MTR has been growing like that, but in the same market, they are telling it's a brand of, one brand of Mayas. The Maya is not growing into the same levels. It's a brand image of Maya. Everyone, each of the retailer or consumer know it, but also it's not growing.
So just because you belong to the family, right, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're producing the same goods. In the sense, not the same standards. You don't have to be, right? If Mrs. Theo Brahma's daughter runs away and starts another business, it's very unlikely that she's going to create the same kind of brand from the first, second, third month, or even 12 months. You've got to adhere to those standards. Yeah, you have to have a connect. So,
contest his question.
Sorry, it's a supplementary.
No, not supplementary. What he told, and also you are told brand value. So MTR is sold out to other person. After that, Mayas came. So what he told, MTR is a value. So now Mayas is not doing good. The brand, what you are shown in your interaction, the brand is the main contributor there.
Of course.
MTR is already Mayas is sold the MTR to other person. Now MTR is not the part or the ownership of the Mayas. Mayas is different and MTR is different.
Absolutely.
MTR is going good. Why? It has a brand value from 1957. So Mayas is started.
24.
Ah, okay. So Mayas, sir, I am not older than you, so I don't have that much of storage in my hand.
The best thing I heard all day.
I not told you are old. I am not old.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So MTR has its value, what you told Tata brand. Mayas is started now, so they don't have that much of value as MTR, but the taste is same. It takes time to do MTR as Mayas.
Absolutely. And you may never make it. It's not necessary you will make it.
Hi, sir. In the current scenario of online business, how much you trust the valuation of the company? Like the Flipkart is 15 billion, you know, how can you trust so much, or how can you value so much a company?
The short question is I don't.
In the short term.
The short answer is I don't. Not even close.
Now, how much you should trust about the valuation of the company?
I don't at all.
Then why it is considered so much? You know?
You have to ask the buyer and the seller. It's a very interesting relationship.
I'm asking the right guru about it. So.
I'm telling you, I don't trust that valuation. Now, somebody paid money for it, right? So you got to go ask the guy who paid and why he paid. There are many reasons why people pay. I can't hear you. Can someone help him with the mic, please? Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
In respect of the Coca-Cola drink, is it the bottle or is it the recipe? The IP is given for the bottle or is for the recipe?
Well, for many years they said there's a secret recipe. I don't know.
So can I put anything in that bottle and sell as Coke and will get the business?
Well, if you call it Coke, you'll sell. At least for a little while. If you don't call it Coke, you can do what you want with it. You can put gold into it, you can put holy water. Doesn't want to sell.
No, IP rights is with what? Intellectual property right is with the bottle? Or
the valuable part, sir, is the Coke name. Right? So you put whatever you want to sell, it's going to sell.
So brand is a bottle.
The bottle, okay. Whatever you say. I'll bottle up. Next.
We'll take one last question.
As you said that the valuation will increase, it becomes more important and more valuable brand. So the more the valuation increases above 50, 60, 70, 80, is this the risk or is this the opportunity for a brand?
Are you asking whether increased valuation creates more risk?
Yes. If the valuation of the brand is about, for example, if it is 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So as the valuation of the brand goes, so is this the opportunity or is this the risk?
It's an opportunity. Clearly.
If something goes wrong?
Of course. That's the whole idea of managing any asset. If you don't maintain your machinery, right, the faster and you bought a car, let's say.
Yes.
Yeah. The faster and faster you drive a car, there is risk.
Yes.
If you don't maintain it, it's going to crash.
Mm-hmm.
It's true for any asset. It's true for a brand as well. You don't nurture it, you don't maintain it, don't build it, it's going to crash.
It's a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword.
Okay, thanks.
But you have to maintain it. You maintain it, look at Uber, look at Facebook, look at Apple, growing up.
Okay, thanks.
Sir, Raghavendra from Tumkur. Sir, you are saying about brand.
You got to speak a little slowly.
You said brand, no?
I said only brand, yes.
Here, Vijay Mallya is my Kingfisher as a brand earlier. Now his brand values, what you say? No, his brand is in the earlier it's very high.
Who
now
told
because
you?
of so many things, it's.
So what's your question?
My question is whether that brand is already made by the Kingfisher. If somebody takes the Kingfisher, can it rise or it remain same or it go down?
Okay, got it. So there are many different elements in this, right? I'll answer your question in 3 parts. First of all, what is good? Okay, whatever you do to Kingfisher Airlines, how much money you steal from the government or the State Bank of India, wherever you run away, right? The Kingfisher beer brand is still a great brand. Nothing has affected it. Consumers will continue to buy that beer because it's a damn good beer and better than many of the other beers in the market, full stop. Okay, part 1. So the brand is still very strong. As per the last assessment that I have, it is worth about $1.6 or $1.7 billion. The brand only. Okay. 2, what he did with Kingfisher Airline, right, was wrong. Yeah, he presented a wrong valuation. He got someone to value it for the wrong number. He raised money and he's not giving it back. All wrong. 3rd, he's not here to represent himself, to defend himself against those wrongs. All 3 different things.
Right. Thank you, sir. I hope that answered your question.
I hope so too.
Right. Can we have a round of applause and may I request you to kindly stay back right here with us for, I must say, our youngest speaker. May I request Mr. Deepak Bhatia to kindly join us on stage and present a memento to our lovely speaker over here, Ramesh Thomas. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for him, please. And the next time you have 1 lakh and you want to make it 1 crore, I think you know who's the person you should be calling. Thank you, Mr. Ramesh. Pleasure having you speak on this lovely, lovely seminar and presentation. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for him. Now, of course, we'd like to thank all of you once again for taking out your time and attending this informational seminar. And we hope that we've all learned something today. So for the vote of thanks, let's once again invite on stage Mr. Ramesh Narayan, IAA Mancom member and Hall of Fame awardee for his contribution in advertising agency. Please welcome him on stage.
And the booze. Okay, so, how do I feel now? Okay, I'll be quick. Okay, I'll be quick. First and foremost, I would like to thank Anand Sankeshwar and his team. Done a super job, I think. Number 2, I would like to thank all our speakers. I think they didn't even, need the national anthem to have us all on our feet for them. Very, very well done. And number 3, I would like to thank all of you all. Wonderful audience. Thank you so much for being with us. And the evening is not yet over. In fact, it just, I think, starts now. So have a nice evening now. Stay with us for the dinner as well. Thank you.
May I request our dignitaries and our speakers to kindly join us on stage for a group photograph, please. May I request the speakers and dignitaries for a group photograph? All right, great. So we'll have the group photograph. But on behalf of IAA and, of course, we're talking about VRL Limited, we request all of you to kindly join us for cocktails and dinner. But before that, I want everybody sitting over here to give yourselves a huge round of applause. You all have been a wonderful audience. So we're just getting the party started. So we request all of you to please join us and enjoy. Thank you so much. May I request the Vijayavani team to kindly join us on stage for a group photograph. Can we have the Vijayavani team, please? May we request the Vijayavani team to kindly join us on stage for a group photograph. May we request Mr. Sundar.
Ramesh.
बड़ी सर मतलब सर सर थोड़े यार मोबाइल कुछ बड़ी